All right. Here we are.
Hello.
Here we are. How are we doing? So good to see everyone again. We missed out last week. We weren't here. So it's me, Chris. We've got Charlie over there to my left.
Howdy.
And Fraser.
Hello.
Down below there. We're back again today. So how's everything been going, guys?
Not bad. Bit busy, bit steady, but been good. Productive for the most part.
Productive is good.
Yeah, same for me, really. Though I did have a couple of days off midweek to go on a little personal vacation, which was nice. But otherwise, productive and busy, keeping at it.
Yeah, a few days holidays. How long was that for?
Tuesday to Friday evening. Yeah.
Tuesday to Friday. That's nice. Yeah, that's really good. So a good few days there. It's good to have a break. Great to have a break.
Yeah, we need it. We're doing hard brain work in the game development design space. We need a
absolutely. You definitely do need a break occasionally. Yeah, for sure. And Fraser, what about you? What have you been up to?
Getting back into the swing of it, I had similarly, although a bit longer, about a week off to hang out with friends. My best friends got married, so spent some time with them, and
nice.
And so then, this week and the past bit has been getting back into the swing of working every day.
Yes, it's fun, isn't it? It's
fun.
Working every day. Yes, I kind of understand that. So we missed out last week because I was busy. I had a hard deadline I had to get to, which I managed to get to. Yay!
Yeah, so, well done.
Yeah. So that's good, but should be too many other issues coming up. And we are missing Sam today. Unfortunately, Sam couldn't make it either. So it's just the three of us. But it'll all be good, I'm sure.
One of these days soon, we'll have a full cast in our new setup.
Don't promise something you don't know that you can necessarily come back with.
No promises. Hopeful.
Hopeful. Yeah. All right. So Fraser, we've got something else of yours to show. So let me just change. Oh, here we go. You guys are watching the stream, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, we'll watch this first, and then you can tell us about it. How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds great.
All right.
Do you know what this is? We want to make this an area in Arvo, but we don't know if players will want to explore it or avoid it. That's because this is a spike field, a concept born from a part of semiotics determined to warn future civilizations of the danger of buried nuclear waste. While for most dangers we can use simple words or universally agreed symbols, nuclear waste and its longevity means it might...
Hang on. I have a feeling.
I think the volume is a bit low.
The audio's not coming through. Yeah, okay.
I could hear it from stream.
From the stream?
Yeah, I could hear my short video through the Twitch channel, yeah.
Right.
Loud enough? Okay, so, that's interesting. Oh, just, sorry. Oh, okay, my bad. That's... Okay. Let's go back to the start. We'll start again. We'll take two, everyone. Yeah, here we go again. Really, it's live.
You know what this is? We want to make this an area in Arvo, but we don't know if players will want to explore it or avoid it. That's because this is a spike field, a concept born from a part of semiotics determined to warn future civilizations of the danger of buried nuclear waste. While for most dangers we can use simple words or universally agreed symbols, nuclear waste and its longevity means it might pose a threat to people who don't share the same means of communication. So many concepts for these warning signs lean into triggering an emotional response that is assumed to be part of the innate human condition. The goal of these spike fields is to create fear, or at least an unease to deter visitors. But as a game designer, I've always thought the contrast of something so clearly unnatural has an allure that would tempt exploration. But what do you think? Would you steer clear of a spike forest? Or would you be drawn in? Do you know what this is? We want to make this an area in Arvo.
All right. So, you've got 555 likes that I can see there.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I think, what were the stats on YouTube? 14,000 views?
14,000 views. Nice.
And then Instagram, when I checked this morning, I think it was up to 7,000. Double checking, yeah, 7,000. So way better than any of the other shorts we've posted by tenfold at least. So kind of came as a surprise.
So this is your what do they call it? This is your viral clip.
Yeah, definitely at the moment. Huge jump in followers, subscribers, and really, really impressive engagement. I would guess
it's a really interesting concept that you've come across there to talk about.
Yeah, this is a concept that I have known about for years and have loved, and I've put into multiple game projects. So Arvo would just be another in that list.
So that concept is semiotics. Is that what you say?
I mean, I do love semiotics, but specifically the spike field. Is
there real world applications, or is this just the idea that people have come by?
So this is from a project happening in the USA. I believe it's meant to they're meant to settle on what specifically they're going to do in the next few years. And then the site will be closed, I think, in the 40s. So I'm not sure sort of what progress they've made, but there's a lot of different ideas on how this sort of communication can be established. But yeah, so essentially there is a nuclear waste site where they're burying it deep underground. And this is just one of the few proposed ideas.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think it's really...
This is from a real actual project that's going on over in the US.
Yeah, so this concept I think came many decades ago. They've been working on it for consistently, I believe. And so yeah, there's been all sorts of different things proposed. But yeah, this one I think was one of the early ones. It was really strong with the idea of, we can't rely on, written communication or language. And I think it also is just really striking, which is part of the reason why a lot of the comments across YouTube and Instagram are all referencing it. They all know it. There's a lot that will say this is not a place of honor, because in the concept, there's a central room with a bunch of languages all with the same message, and it starts with, this is not a place of honor. So I find it really interesting how it's designed. The intent was to try and scare people away from it, but it has done such a good job of being so striking that even though it's not real, people are really attached to it.
I love it.
Well, it's super interesting. Just as you said at the end of the video, that it sort of tempts you into exploration.
The other one I wanted to talk about, but didn't really make sense for Arvo and couldn't quite fit it in, was the proposal to edit the genes of the domesticated cat so that they would glow when in the presence of radiation, and then they would try and establish myth that if a cat is glowing, you should leave the place. But it, like I said, didn't make sense in terms of...
I feel like I've heard that before. Was that a legit thing that people have been trying to do?
It was a legit proposal.
Cat glow?
Is this like some CIA projects or whatever? What the hell?
I think it lines up with gene editing. And I think I have seen, I think it might have been mice. I think have been able to...
The glowing mice, yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, but this was, just another one of those proposals where I just really like it, because it's like, if you can't use our primary form of communication, obviously being language, how else do you communicate? And so you get some really interesting things like the spike field and some just out there ones like make the cats glow, and then that'll become a myth.
Be unsettling enough that everyone would leave.
Yeah.
Bizarre. Cool. Anyway, congratulations on the on getting all those views and the likes. So
it is
hopefully
fun.
That will translate.
One of the things I've tried to do with the shorts is sort of indirectly get people thinking about game design, offering up at the end, what do you think about it? Would you go? Would you not? Which invites people to leave their explanations. And I feel like, being the internet, so often the comments are worded in a way as if I don't know or can't think through some of these things. But this time, all the comments were really positive. There was some people bring genuine, thoughts and ways to enhance that. Some people who were just being like, "Yeah, I would go in there," or "No, I wouldn't." It was really cool.
Cool. Nice. Okay. At the moment, do you have anything else going on there? So, I mean, are people sort of joining a Discord or anything like that? Have you had any
No, we haven't gotten that
Discord?
far into
Not
our
that
sort
far?
of marketing stuff. It's
Marketing,
meant to be
yeah.
on the docket is sort of getting the website together and getting the Discord
Mhm.
open. But yeah, after Soulbound and sort of losing some steam, we wanted to get to work on making things for the game and get sort of that creative drive back before having to do things like Discord management.
So I might have to get you into class as the marketing expert, Fraser.
Yeah.
Well, it's just not bad. Jack of all trades, I guess, at the worst.
Kind of got to be. I think we got lucky. We'll see if the next one can garner a similar number of views.
Yeah. Anyway, well done. Well done.
Appreciate it.
Cool. Okay, so what are we look at next? This one. Okay, so we did look at last time we were here. We looked at a different. We looked at game design patterns, didn't we? Looked at game design patterns, and I don't know. Do you guys remember? I'm not sure whether you were here, Fraser, but Charlie, do you remember looking at
patterns,
those?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily the best. Like, I don't know. It was sort of walls of text, wasn't it?
Yeah, the ones we were looking at really wasn't helpful for anyone in sort of application sense. Like I think you said it last stream was it's very like sort of educational in the sense of an academic would read it, but I don't think a general game developer would.
I
deep dive in the text.
Yeah, I think that's kind of true. So this week we're looking at, I guess, the next iteration of a pattern language. So I say next iteration. This is from a different person. Chris Barney is his name, and I should maybe put the link here in the chat if anyone is interested in checking these out, like so. Because I think they're probably a little bit more usable, I guess I would say, than the last ones we looked at. So there is a book that he has written, and this is what we're looking at here. So Pattern Language for Game Design, where he talks about these things. But then he's also down the bottom, we've got Enter the Pattern Library. So we jump into here now. So we've got our little pattern library. And if we look up here, I haven't spent a lot of time going through these. I have taken a bit of a dive in, but we can certainly do a little bit of searching. So we can do a search, but if we look at what we've got here, and now I guess we're doing this. So we've got some interesting names of the patterns. Any of these? If I was going to click on one, anyone you might think I should look at?
The interesting titles, kind of vague.
I reckon I'm doing it as hard as I can. I had a look at a couple of the other ones on this page, and that was the other one that interested me.
Okay, so I'm doing it as hard as I can, matching difficulty to player ability. Well, fair enough. Okay, let's have a look. So now, number one, I'd say first up, it looks far more inviting than the wiki that we were looking at last time. So nice little picture there. So we've got, it's from Chris Barney. Pattern confidence is 3. Not sure what that means. From 2020, so it's a little while ago. It's edited recently though. Seed personal pattern exercise, escalating difficulty from the book Game Mechanics Advanced Game Design. So we've got some keywords here as well. So escalating difficulty can create engagement as a player's skill increases and allows players of different skill levels to enjoy your game. So the art is from Jason Weiser. So again, we still have quite a bit of text here, I guess, don't we? I mean, but it's a little bit better structured, maybe.
Yeah. I feel like we're always going to get a little bit of text, but this is, as you said, better structured.
It's hard to get away from text.
Breaks in the text as well. It's not just a giant wall of it.
So we've got this design problem. So skill level varies between players, and an individual player's skill level changes throughout play. Additionally, narrative and mechanical progression both benefit from an increase in the challenge for a player. Okay. So the pattern description. Does anyone else want to read this? I feel like I'm.
It might be a little bit too small from the stream, but I could pull.
Hang on. Let me.
I've got it open. I can read it out. So the
Perfect.
pattern description is to create a feeling of challenge and escalating tension in the player. A developer may want to gradually increase the difficulty of one or more mechanics throughout the game. This increase in difficulty may be static and tied to the player only through their linear progression through the game, thus requiring the player's skill increased by a fixed amount in order to progress. When this is the case, this pattern may be combined with a pattern based on the functional elements of levels of difficulty, which may be another pattern, to account for varying skill levels between players. Rate of change in the difficulty may be tied adaptively to the player's performance, increasing more rapidly for skilled players and leveling off as player skills plateau. This effect creates a more consistent player experience, but may allow players to avoid increasing difficulty by not overperforming. That effect may be desirable if a more relaxed experience is desired, or in the case of where the developer is trying to create a flow state in the player. And then there's a couple examples.
Fraser, can you send them? Are you interested in reading through those?
So one of the examples is the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Challenge escalation has been present in the Elder Scrolls games for most of the title's iterations. In Oblivion, the difficulty increases existed across most of the game's systems and generally matched the character's increase in power. This parallel scaling created a static level of perceived difficulty throughout the game. In Skyrim, a more complex system created areas of the game with enemies that were consistently stronger or weaker than the character, allowing the player to feel both challenge and mastery depending on where they were in the game world, while maintaining a general sense of balance in the game world.
Do you want to do the next one as well?
Yeah, Space Invaders. This game uses a simple linear difficulty adjustment that is independent of the player performance, increasing difficulty as the player progresses through the game on a per enemy killed basis. I think that's an interesting example because it has a linear difficulty adjustment, but it also has a dynamic one where the more of the invaders that you shoot down, the less dense the target is, and so the more shots are likely to miss.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, part of the normally that wouldn't be a huge issue, but in Space Invaders you can only have one projectile on screen at a time. You can't fire again until the first projectile has hit an enemy or left the screen. So missing it can be really critical in when it gets faster and faster.
Yeah, right.
So we've got quite a few. Candy Crush Saga. I might read this one. So this is a more modern implementation driven by the same optimization target as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. While the specific DDA algorithms are not public, developers have discussed the fact that they introduce pinch levels that are very difficult to complete. Yes, these levels encourage microtransactions. There you go. So this could be a dark pattern as well. And are placed based on player investment as determined by length of play and levels completed. Yeah, I was interested to read that one because I know Candy Crush is one of those microtransaction games.
Yeah, so the longer you play it, the more likely you're going to be pushed into the microtransactions.
So it's interesting. So these levels encourage, pinch levels. That's an interesting, that in itself is a pattern, is it not? I would say pinch levels may be a pattern in itself. A dark pattern.
A dark pattern. So that would just be great spikes in difficulty, I would assume.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's quite interesting. So, yeah, it'd be a little bit different, wouldn't it, from... Because I think in other games that you're not trying to get money out of people, you're not wanting to... You don't want it to be too difficult. You want to be challenging, but not too difficult. Whereas in something like Candy Crush, you're getting it challenging, but then you're spiking that challenge specifically to extract money out of your players. Isn't that wonderful?
I think,
which is crazy. Yeah,
I guess the linearity of it is sort of the critical factor, right? Because it's kind of similar to sort of the Dark Souls approach, especially in Elden Ring, right? Where certain enemies will be way tougher than you're ready for. The idea there, or same in Breath of the Wild, the idea being the enemy is too tough, you should go explore elsewhere and come back. But yeah, when it's in a linear thing, like the only next level you can do. I don't know if that's actually, is that how Candy Crush works? Do they have set linear levels?
I think it's something like that. I have to admit, I'm not a Candy Crush aficionado.
Yeah, I just had a moment where I was like, that's what I assumed, but maybe not. If that is the case, then yeah, that's pretty predatory.
Yeah. That's the whole. And that's the way they all kind of work. To progress further, you have to either be really good or you have to buy whatever their economy thing is. So that's how they get the money out of it. They get you hooked, then they make it really hard. So that's quite interesting. That's actually enlightening. Okay. Should we? Well, any? Do you guys have any thoughts so far? We've looked at one. We'll look at one or two more.
I was gonna say I do have thoughts about, because I've had a little look before stream. I've got some broader thoughts, but I'm happy to save those for after another example if you like.
Sure. Anything specifically on this one, or should we go to another one?
I mean, this one, the Chris Barney, that's the author of the book, right?
Yeah.
I managed to drill my way into some that were like user generated. So maybe if we can find one of those, we can sort of compare and contrast.
Oh, do you know? Do you have any?
I can check my history. I did find. So there was Absolutely Absurd was a user generated one.
Well, for some reason the
I assume a user submitted.
Absolutely Absurd.
Yeah. I was like
0 matches. Okay.
I was gonna say this. The search feature was one of my concerns with the site. It seemed to be
not very good.
Yeah, I can send you the link if you like.
That might. Yeah,
I will pop it in our shared Google Doc.
Oh, I can't get out of that now. Okay. Hang on. The Google. No, put it in the Discord chat.
In Discord. Okay.
Yeah, please. That would be easier. Cool. Absolutely absurd. Okay, so this is like 5 people.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So, do you want to take us through this one then?
Yeah, sure. So, design problem. Many games have very absurd settings, but most of the time players don't think about how unusual they are. If a designer wants to call the player's attention specifically to the absurdity, how do they do that? Pattern description. One way to draw attention to absurdity within a game is to contrast the absurd element with mundane elements. Various elements that games often use to create that contrast are mechanics, characters, goals, and settings. Games use different permutations of making these elements absurd or mundane to draw attention to its strangeness. Some games emphasize the absurdity within the game by combining absurd mechanics with an absurd character to achieve a completely mundane goal. Others use completely mundane characters trying to achieve absurd goals.
Okay.
I am not familiar with any of these game examples that they list.
Neither am I.
But I can think of...
Yeah, Earthbound and Octodad is probably a good... Octodad especially is probably a good example here. Because you are a octopus pretending to be your father in a normal world, and you've just got to do normal objects whilst maintaining the pretense that you are a human and not a not an octopus. So I'll just read the thing. This game contrasts the normality of its setting, a regular suburban neighborhood, and your average family, with the absurdity of the fact that you're an octopus. You have to accomplish normal tasks like grilling a burger, but the mechanics are extremely unwieldy because, again, you're an octopus.
So is that similar
Kind
to
of the meat of the game.
some more recent games? What are those ones that have come out recently where it's really hard to sort of move around?
Like Getting Over It and Baby Steps, Bennett Foddy.
Baby Steps could be one. Yeah, there's another one that's just come out as well. RV There Yet? Is that another one? That's like literally last week came out.
Yeah, I think that's more of a multiplayer, like Overcooked style game, isn't it?
But I'm thinking the absurdity is
the absurdity factor. Yes, maybe not the controls.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the absurdity. So this one is absurdity, isn't it? So absolutely absurd. Absurd things. Most time players don't think about how unusual they are. If a designer wants to call the player's attention to specifically the absurdity, how do they do that? Okay. I mean, is that really true? I guess my question would be that. I mean, I'm not so sure that I would agree with that premise, the design problem.
Well, I think most games are sort of absurd to an extent, unless you get a really grounded one, or the designers or developers want to tell a really true and grounded story, such as AAA studios like Naughty Dog telling The Last of Us. Though it is in an absurd setting of a world, a post-apocalyptic world, there's a lot of real elements in there. But
I wouldn't call that absurd, though. I mean, absurd is for absurd. There's like a combination of comedy and ridiculousness, isn't there? Like that's the absurd. Whereas The Last of Us is more gritty.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All the examples are definitely games with comedy in them.
Yeah.
It is a design problem that I have been facing with Arvo.
Yeah. Okay.
We've discussed about how the narrative we're going for is essentially the player character is the straight man, and all of the NPCs are your sort of comedic. And we've had thoughts about how we need to contrast some of the weirdness with more understandable things.
So the absurdity is where in Arvo?
In the tasks primarily, like the way the main premise of the mechanics is built around the stacking all these boxes in the back of the ute and having them go flying. Yeah, and so there's an inherent sort of comedy to that, and so we want to sort of keep pushing that as far as we can by the jobs that the NPCs give. And so the NPCs will have comedic elements, like they're meant to be designed to be quite not super serious looking, but to balance all of that, we're trying to have quite a meaningful story and narrative built in. And it's like our challenge has been trying to find that balance. And that's the example I think of is Yakuza. I think you saw that a few weeks ago when I played a bit on stream, and the game looks like a serious game, and then you'll run into a side mission where it's like, fight these Yakuza who are just wearing adult nappies.
That's absurd. That's right? Absurd. That's absurd.
And so
yes.
It goes back and forth. And I mean, like, even in the main series, you get stuff with like Majima, who is quite a comic relief doing absurd things. But the narrative around it is like, my adoptive father is like in danger from my blood brother who's trying to assassinate him. Like, I feel like you can go with a more comedic overtone and then have the serious bits in there to really make the punch, or you can have a really serious overtone and have some just out there absurd moments. So I don't know if I'd say many games have it, but I think there's a lot of games where you have one or the other, and it's good to think about.
Well, certainly one level of absurdity in Yakuza is the way that and I've mentioned this many times before, you get stabbed and then it's like, oh, yeah, no, just walk it off. It's all good.
Yeah.
no problem. And Mirror's Edge was exactly the same. You're playing as Faith and you get shot. It's like, I'm okay. I'm all good. Yeah, I'm just gonna, it's all good. I'm fine. I'm fine. I mean, that is absurdity but it's also kind of ridiculous because it almost breaks the believability in some ways. So it's right on the edge. And for Mirror's Edge, to me particularly, was it kind of did break the believability.
Yeah, I can agree.
Mm.
And yeah, RP Jeffrey pointing out more good Majima stuff like Majima Everywhere, where I think I briefly mentioned it. There'll be things like giant traffic cones, and he'll jump out from behind it to start a fight. And and then all of that absurdity follows, where you get stabbed, he gets stabbed, you beat him to within a brink of his life, and then he shows up dressed as a cop or a zombie or anything else ridiculous.
Right. Okay. So, kind of thumbs up with this for this pattern.
I like it. I just one of the things I liked about some of the other ones was the
should we visit them? If we're going to talk
sure.
about that, should we actually go to them? So that's absurd. Was there another one that you can remember?
What was the other one I looked at? It was I think it was, and now I guess we're doing this.
Oh, that's the first one.
Yeah.
That's easy to find. So, unexpected events can force players to transition between gameplay styles, in this case between stealth and combat. Okay. So the design problem. So this is the traditional design pattern structure as well, like that Christopher Alexander did in architecture. So saying this is a problem. So he has structured it in the same way that that the original design patterns were created. So the design problem: players can get trapped in comfortable gameplay loops, which can both bore them and keep them from taking advantage of all the gameplay possibilities of your game. Yeah, that's true. To get players to transition from one gameplay type to another, developers can take advantage of players' tendencies to push their characters' limits and abilities. When you build in lethal consequences to overextending character abilities, you create a situation where the player has to change their way of playing to survive. Ooh.
I feel like this is a classic sort of design problem or pattern in games.
Who's played Sekiro Shadows Die Twice? I have to admit I have not.
I have.
I have, and it's defeated me. I've never passed it.
My PS4 defeated me because it would get so hot and loud trying to play Sekiro that I gave up.
Charlie, do you want to read that the one in Sekiro?
Yeah. So in order to take advantage of stealth kills, the player has to get close to the enemy. If they fail to kill the enemy, it is alerted and gameplay changes from stealth to combat action or to traversal as the player flees. So that's very much, I think, a design that's almost baked into every game where you can avoid detection of an enemy.
Remind me, Sekiro is from
Software.
It is from Software. I always so this is a particular type style of game.
So this is a Souls-like Soulsborne game, where they sort of shifted the focus from defense into more like aggressive attack, parries, and stealth as well, as mentioned here, which did sort of make it a bit more interesting in a way. Especially you're sort of, if you play a lot of Dark Souls, there are plenty of styles to play with, but one of them is defense. You can utilize defense in a lot of ways, but that was stripped out of this one. So, and I think they replaced it sort of with a stealth mechanic where you could sneak around and one-hit enemies a lot, but then failing would be very dangerous. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I like this layout though because I get really sick of reading over and over, and my brain skips ahead. But it works really well because I can read the design problem, understand what this page is about, And then from the examples, as long as I'm familiar with at least one of them, I can immediately start to understand the problem more thoroughly. And then I really like that there's no like, here's how you solve it. At most, you get here's games that have solved it for them. And so
Yeah.
I really like that it opens it up for a designer to look at this. You know, if I had a problem and I come here and I can read one of these articles and I'd be like, okay, yeah, we're facing this trouble. How did other people do it? And there's a whole list of examples there. It feels like a really good starting point to be like, okay, well, how will we do it for our game? Which I think is really helpful.
So I'm also noticing there's this little eye information thing on the right-hand side. I don't know whether you can see that, where it's got game description. So it's saying Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is the third-person stealth action adventure. Is it really stealth? So, I mean, Souls games are not generally stealth, are they?
It's one element. I wouldn't say it's a stealth game.
Yeah, okay.
Like you do have to fight everything to progress.
Right.
It's not about sneaking past things.
I think if we take away sort of some of the expectations of what like a third-person stealth action adventure is, it still does quite have that, because from what I remember playing of it, a lot of the exploration was like around rooftops and trying to stay on the high ground before jumping in and getting into the fight. So it's not like you were sneaking past people. You were, but it was more the stealth sort of came from getting yourself to an advantageous position before then engaging in the fighting. I think a lot of stealth games, it's about like picking off one enemy at a time. Yeah,
this is definitely just a tactical beginning for a game, and done really well. Like I remember playing just like that too, and it was rather rewarding when you can set yourself up for the start of a fight.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a spin on the Souls type
big time
genre. Right. Okay. So they're taking Souls and they're adding something to it. Let's look at the view game details as well. I'm just interested to see what is in here. Okay. So we're still in here, but so we're looking now at a little picture. We've got the link to the game, description of the game, details of the game, some of the trailer.
Oh yeah, scroll down a bit. There's all the patterns that it implements, which is very interesting.
Well, hang on, show all. Let's see what it's. Oh, okay. So this is structurally far better than what we've seen previously. Linking it all together. So if you were doing something inspired by Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, I mean, you could come into here and spend a bit of time reading. Yeah, I mean,
well, help you understand the patterns within it and just some of the mechanics around it. Like, especially if you're trying to get the vibe of a game. You know?
Yeah. Goodness me, how many are there? There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There is a lot. Okay. So I was going to look as well. So there's the game's reference. And I did notice, 7 Days to Die is here. Let's check it out. 7 Days to Die. There's not many patterns here. You have met with a terrible fate. Illuminate the darkness. It's not what it looks like. Using visuals to evoke a sense of discomfort. The language of light. Oh, let me check. What is that?
Interesting that there's private and not shown patterns.
Yeah.
Is that sort of to do with things that they're not willing to discuss?
They don't have private and not shown. Oh, maybe that's the paid, the paid tier. Maybe we're not on the paid tier. I don't know.
Oh, that makes sense because it's all in a book, right? You can buy the book.
Oh, right.
So we're just getting the taster.
Oh, I see. So actually, it's interesting when you look at them in here. This is just a summary of the pattern. So you can come into here and then go into the detail of the pattern as well. Right. Interesting. Okay.
I was happy to see that Control and Alan Wake all had entries in the game reference as well.
Oh, they do?
Yes. Not many. I think I checked Alan Wake 2. It didn't have too many patterns, but they were listed. So once I saw
Oh,
them
right.
listed, I was like, good.
So you can log in. I can log in and register here. So maybe, yeah, okay. So I mean, I did obviously look at this before we jumped into it, but I'm kind of interested because I'm thinking myself. So I guess there's a few questions in my mind. One is this something? Would you use it in your design, in your game design? I'm
I think
asking
if
myself that
you're-
question too.
Yeah, I was sort of asking myself that question too, and I feel like if I had wanted to create something so similar, similar to something else, going in here wouldn't be such a bad idea. And seeing how they've done it, like I just saw one for Animal World, but I went past it. But I thought that was a really interesting game. It'd be cool to make something similar in the sense, but then instead of researching all yourself, which you should do anyway, you can get a base of like the design patterns and the feel and everything sort of in one place here, which is a great starting point, I think. But short of trying to replicate something else, I'm not sure if I would use it.
Yep.
But it's definitely scratching like an itch for me, like a creative itch of curiosity, should I say, curiosity itch.
Fraser?
I could definitely see it being a really good, almost like a prompt, like a starting point, right? Like you could just tab through a few of these until you find a design problem you like and come up with a good idea for and build like a, some sort of game prototype from there. I do want to bookmark it and have it as a tool that's available. I really like the way it gets my brain thinking. Ideally, I would love the book. I don't know what the book looks like that this is tied to, but I would love it to be. I've got an example.
I think it looks like that. That's the front page.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. I'll go grab the book that I want it to be.
The book that you want it to be. Okay.
But yeah, that could be a pretty fun sort of little a game jam thing, is finding if you were to run game jams, finding a design pattern, and then that's sort of the thing that people design around.
Would that be enough for an entire game? I guess you'd have to.
Well, that's the challenge of a game jam, isn't it? You tend to get a single sentence for a theme or a word.
Yeah.
And you've got to make it up. But yeah, I don't know.
What's the book,
We'll see
Fraser?
some creativity.
This is the book that I found and I like.
101 things I
101
learned
things.
in architecture. Oh.
Yeah. And so it's just like a little coffee table book. And it's all about sort of architecture principles. And so each page comes with a diagram and then a description. And it's just something that I like to have nearby, although, mind you, it probably should be in here in the study, but it was in the bookshelf. But yeah, if it was formatted like that, where it's like, 100 of sort of the best, most common patterns, something that I could flag really easily and have physically, because that's how my brain works best. But I do really like that it has a website, full repository by the looks. So,
yes, I guess for me, I'm just kind of wondering, would I use it? Like, is it just like a kind of a reference, something you should read and be aware of? Like, how usable is it? You'd need to have an understanding of what's already in here, wouldn't you? I think. How do you find the ones? How do you find the ones that you want?
And the search seems to be a bit finicky. That's why I think, having like a coffee table book with some of the key ones, and then maybe some references, similar patterns that you could go look up, would be sort of the most useful I could think of it. But yeah, I think it's quite cool, and I like that it's not one person. I like that it's open, and there seems to be some sort of vetting process with the sort of there's an ability to rate things positively or negatively. I guess if it got really, really popular, you'd have really good sort of community knowledge and growth in it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Obviously, there's a lot of work going into it being accessible for game designers and stuff as well. I think it's interesting. I think it's useful. I'm not sure whether I would end up using it. That's the only thing I'd say.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It
and
could be
that's
a
not.
really great tool for students, though, like starting out, or anyone, not just students, but anyone starting out. You know,
Yeah.
when you've got
I'm
no
just
idea
looking
where to
at-
even start.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the chapters of the book as well, and there is pattern exercises for 7,
Oh.
8, 9, 10, 11. There's 5 chapters here focused on doing pattern exercises. So as a student tool could be great for learning.
I mean, I think maybe that's where it probably perhaps has its greatest value, maybe as a learning, not learning tool, but sort of something that you learn when you're educated, when you're being educated on game design. Because, and then it's there, I guess, once you've used a lot of these things, it's in your mind. You know it's there, and you know it's a reference that you can go to if for some reason you have challenges. I'm just not sure that I would be using this every day. Like I can't see that happening.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, if I'm stuck on something, come in here and see if it's there, and because that's, it's like I already kind of know what the problem is
Mm-hmm.
at that point. So a chunk of it is kind of like just sort of formality, but then having all the game's examples listed, it's a good reminder for like, oh yeah, that game did have that challenge, or oh, this is a game that has that. I should pick it up and play it and do some further research into how they solved it and see how I can implement.
I guess another question I'm thinking about though as well is like, if it really solved serious problems that I had, like if I was really, battling with a design problem, then that would be fantastic. But I haven't really seen, like the ones we've looked at kind of seem just a bit obvious. They don't seem to offer up the sort of goal that you might be wanting. It's just like, well, yeah, of course that's it. So I'd want to sort of spend maybe more time looking into this and see, is there anything in there which is giving me knowledge that I have not seen elsewhere and that's really valuable.
The thing I'm noticing with all these patterns is they're more like just highlighting what the patterns and problems are, and there's no solution. Like you said before, like you jump into these pattern descriptions, but there's no like way, here's how to solve it. And then we just get a list of examples with games that sort of implement it / solve it. So I think it's more very much just a tool to get you thinking about how you're going to solve your problem if you're going to have this pattern in your game.
I think that's why I like it so much. It's not trying to have the answers. It's not trying to put it down in stone.
Yeah.
It's just
an answer is a unique implementation, isn't it? And that's sort of
exactly
what makes the games.
Yeah. And so to list the games, I think is it just resonates with me really well. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Oh, definitely something worth looking at. I would recommend anyone to jump in and have a look. It's definitely worth checking out. And with that, so let's jump into our next thing. Fraser.
Right.
Fraser's done some cool preparation. Let me just
just a little bit of video editing.
A little bit of video editing. Do you want me to share this? Are you happy to watch this on the stream, or do you want me to share it with you on Discord?
I'll be fine. It's mostly like the video is mostly just so that there is examples happening pretty consistently. There shouldn't be too much critical information in there that's time sensitive.
Do we need sound? Do we need sound on?
No, it's just gameplay audio. So
I'll turn the sound off then.
Yeah,
and I'll hit play.
Cool. Yeah. So we have been thinking about mechanics that we don't like in games, and while I think Hollow Knight is a phenomenal game, and Silksong, I suppose I should be more specific, one of the mechanics that I didn't like in either of them is their charge attack system. And so this video, it's got some footage that we can see now of Silksong and various charge attacks, and then a game which I think does it a little bit better, which is Yakuza Kiwami 2 specifically. And then one of the games that I think does charge attacks the best, which is Dark Souls 3. So I guess to describe what we're seeing, the typical gameplay in Hollow Knight, you have a whole host of movement abilities. You have some tools which can do damage, but your primary attack is you swing your nail, and depending on what crest you have equipped, you'll sort of get a slightly different moveset, and you can attack differently whether you attack upwards, downwards, or the side to side. But if you hold down the attack button, you'll see you gather all those particles, and then when you let go, you release the charge attack. My main gripes with it is that if you get hit while you are charging or have it charged, you lose your charge attack. And the charge attacks are in these very sort of stiff animations. There's very little flexibility. Not to mention, if you're trying to be proactive, you're charging it up and trying to platform to the next area. I find it's just doesn't feel great, and I don't know why I'd use it over just attacking.
So there's a lot going on, pretty much. Like you said, you're platforming whilst charging using multiple inputs to get it sort of happening. And is there a lot of like damage benefits? I assume there would be to the charge attacks.
I've heard discussion online that they can be really good. But like, you do get more damage out, but I think the trade-off to a limited mobility is just not worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially when the platforming is so heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I think really like the main sort of genre category for Silksong would be platformer, right? I think that's what most people see it as, platforming Metroidvania.
Yeah, interesting. Would you say it would benefit from having some sort of like held charge, in the sense that you're not the user input held charge, but if you were to build it up over time where you could get hit and then like your charge isn't reset and you could continue to build, or would you reckon that would sort of push it too much into an easy to get the highest damage attack realm?
Potentially. I think I mean, my default is I just don't think it should be in there because I just don't use it. But I did have I was thinking, I was like, what would be good? And I thought about the Batman Arkham games. I don't know if either of you are too familiar with the series.
No, I've had a little play myself, but just at a friend's house, so not too familiar with the actual systems.
Yeah, me too.
The main sort of fighting style is you sort of mash your attack button, and then when an enemy comes up to attack you, you hit your counter button, or certain moves you have to dodge. So it's a lot of like mashing X and then countering at the right time. And so I imagine they must have had a similar thought when they were like, oh, what about charge attacks? It completely breaks the flow. If you're meant to be moving around, mashing your attack button, or you're always mashing a button, you're never holding, it would really break it. So one of the things I remember that they did was it was about timing instead. So if you, instead of just mashing X repeatedly, if you timed it to be, I think it was like because you press X and it'll take a second and then the punch will land. If you press X when that punch lands, your next punch will do extra damage. And so it made it far more engaging. Okay. You're having to sort of watch and wait and get into a rhythm. I think something like that would be really good in Silksong.
Yeah, and that is a really good design, because they've honed in on exactly what you said, that it's a button mashing fighter, and then they've turned that into a useful mechanic if you're thoughtful about it, rather than actually changing and pulling away from the flow.
Mm-hmm. And I think we'll start to see some of that come in the other two examples we have here as well. I'm just reading chat. Combat is very common.
Yeah, I was just reading that too.
Best example we can think of is Dead Cells. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar. Same with Monster Hunter. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with either of those, Jeffrey.
Monster Hunter with charge attacks. Though I haven't played Monster Hunter for many iterations, I do remember it being so slow that the combat, and you had to really plan every swing, that I would never use the charge attacks because I'd just be stationary for too long and get mauled by the dragons. But it'd be interesting to see how they do it now.
It's sounding a little familiar with Dark Souls, but maybe should we skip ahead to Yakuza? I've got
That's
chapters down there.
Just what I'm thinking. Yeah, there we go. Okay, Yakuza. Here we go.
Right. So Yakuza, obviously a huge difference being, a 3D game. But I think one of the benefits is when you are fighting, you are very obviously fighting. Like you have very clear distinction between when you should be exploring and when you should be fighting the enemies in front of you. So it is a similar, it's a charge attack. You hold the button down, it does more damage. What I really like with Yakuza is it's not just more damage, but it also stuns the enemies. So you'll notice when the charge attack connects, they'll get little stars float around their head, and they're stunned, right? They won't move, they won't attack for a brief period of time. And one of the things that I like, I think it takes me a bit to sort of get into the flow of it because I just don't use charge attacks in this game either, is you can start charging it during an animation. So if you hit a light attack combo and then hold down the light attack, it sort of cuts that window down for how long it takes to charge it.
Yeah, nice. Well, I feel like they solved, like it works here, and it's been solved in exactly what you said at the start, in the separation of concerns. There's clear times when you're exploring and moving around, and then there's clear times when you're fighting. So you're not trying to do anything but fight in these like sections, comparatively to Silksong, where you're traversing, moving through the environment, also while trying to charge and fight. Yeah. And I feel like having that separation very much makes the charge a non-issue in this case. Like you said, it adds another layer where you can stun people.
Mm-hmm. It does have some downsides. Unless you're using a controller that has paddles or you're very sort of, dexterous, you're holding down the X button, and to dodge, you need to press the A button. And you can dodge while holding a charge attack. But obviously, those two face buttons, trying to hit those, or hold one and then press the other, it can be quite difficult. But I suppose you could argue maybe that's part of the trade-off, right? If you're holding down a heavy attack that can stun, maybe it should be hard to dodge. And Crash Test Butter in the chat. Hello.
Good to see you.
That what you were saying, Fraser, it sounds like a good opportunity for remapping buttons. Yeah.
100%. It is. It's an option.
Is it cheating?
It feels unclear. Yeah, maybe
is
not necessarily
cheating,
but is it intentional? Did they want you to be able to do this? Is this something they thought about? And Jeffrey says, as a fighting game veteran, light work to charge and input. So I guess skill issue on my part.
Get good.
Yeah. I also think one of the other issues in here is so much of the fighting is sort of combo based. And I find the charge attacks don't really have a follow-up in the combo. They sort of end it. And so that's part of one of the big reasons why I don't use it. Like, they make for really flashy finisher moves, and you get the really cool like particle effect happening. But if I'm going to keep fighting, it's like, well, I'd rather be on my feet quickly instead of having this, big flashy attack where I'm sort of, have reduced inputs and have to wait before I can do anything again.
Yeah. To me, it feels like the trade-off of the stun ability. Like if you were to add that into the combos and be able to continue with your combo, you could just be stunning people over and over whilst performing massive things. So I feel like if I were designing this, I would probably intentionally keep it out, as that's like, if you want to stun, here's the feature, but it breaks your combo.
Yeah. I just can't help but think about Batman again, and I'm like, I just enjoyed the rhythm of it so much,
Yeah.
And maybe that's just me. I really enjoy sort of having that rhythm in a game.
Well, I think a lot of modern games are really pulling up on that with rhythm-based sort of timed events of input to get better sort of attack hits or movements. Because as you said, it is very satisfying to perform, and we're even seeing it in turn-based games now. Press the button as they hit,
And not to mention, Hi-Fi Rush, and there is another fighting game which is all like to the music, very rhythm forward. I guess
So that gets you into that state of flow. Yeah, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're saying that some of these that you're experiencing actually bring you out of that state of flow?
Yeah, I mean, Hollow Knight, definitely.
Right.
Yakuza, a bit. Like, Hollow Knight makes me sad because I just don't use the charge attacks. Yakuza, I'll use them occasionally just because they look flashy. And they, like I said, they make for good finisher moves. But yeah, the last example we've got is Dark Souls 3, which is one where I've used charge attacks all the time.
Should we move to Dark Souls 3? Okay. All right, here we go.
So, classic Dark Souls combat formula. You have your light attacks and your heavy attacks. And your heavy attacks, you can press the right trigger to perform at standard, or if you hold it, you'll charge it up, and eventually it'll release on its own and do extra damage and stun and whatnot. The main difference between Yakuza, Silksong versus Dark Souls is that your attack will be released when you let go of the button. I've mentioned in Silksong, if you get hit while you're charging, you lose your charge attack. So instantly, it's more responsive because there's more. It's more analog, right? Instead of it being a binary, like you either charge the attack and now can do it, or you lost it for whatever reason. Dark Souls says, well, if you started it too late and you see the enemy coming, as long as you release it in time, you'll get the attack off. You might not get the full damage from the charged heavy attack, but you will still attack them and either stagger them or whatever. You can still respond. The whole time you can be responsive and not just, waste it. I think you can even roll out of it while you're charging it, but I've actually never... No, you must be able to, yeah.
I think you can, yeah. The roll should be... I think you can activate it from almost anything.
Yeah. So you can, commit to trying to land the charge attack or get the full charge off. Or if you've really messed it up, you can decide to bail and try and escape. And I think it's just far more engaging in terms of attacks where you hold the button to do more damage.
So you prefer the Dark Souls...
Yeah.
The Dark Souls solution, yeah?
Far and away. And I mean, in terms of the effects as well, like in Silksong, as far as I'm aware, they just have a special animation and they do a bit more damage. In Yakuza, we pointed out that they do have a stunning effect. In Dark Souls, I mean, it changes the animation timing, which is a huge part of the gameplay, right? Like, in most cases, if you attack and your attack hits, it'll stagger the opponent, so you can attack them before they attack you. With massive weapons like this hammer, they have hyper armor, which is essentially if you get hit while the attack animation is happening, you'll take the damage, but it won't affect you. You won't get staggered. So you get to have this fun trade-off where you're like, these guys, they're relatively weak. They don't do a lot of damage. So I'd rather keep charging my attack to max and hope that when their attack hits me, it's in that hyper armor window, and then I'll crush them in one shot. So there's a lot more nuance to a lot of it. It's a lot more variable.
That sounds considerably more calculated, I guess, or you have to take far more into consideration. And I was thinking when you were first talking about Dark Souls, because of course, depending on what weapon you're using, your speed and everything is different as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can have those small light dagger, which will go really fast, or a huge. And talk about the absurd. I mean, we're kind of into the absurd here. But obviously, yes, you see the same in Elden Ring, of course, with the huge swords and stuff. Obviously, there's a group who really enjoy having the oversized things. I can't imagine why, but obviously they do.
The speed trade-off for these big weapons, I never really use them too much in Dark Souls.
Oh, I love them. They're my favorite.
We won't ask you why, Fraser. That's okay. But I mean, that's a far more like there's far more going on there, isn't there, than say Hollow Knight, where you've just got your little needle kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you were gonna, so you're saying sort of for you, Hollow Knight, the power attack is broken, in that you don't use it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm not engaging with it, I think that's basically the simplest way to put it, right? Is that it's broken.
So how would you fix it, considering, I guess what we've looked at with the other two games? I mean, are there elements in these games that could be incorporated into Hollow Knight to make that a better power attack?
Yeah, I think looking at this Dark Souls footage, I mean, just letting you be able to get the attack off, maybe, you don't get the extra damage unless you get it fully charged, but being able to still let the attack go before preemptively would make a huge difference. But I still think for Silksong, especially I played the whole game with the Wanderer's Crest, which has the fastest attack speed of all of them. Some sort of rhythm element, something where precision or timing was critical. It has a hidden feature where once you have enough silk, which is you gain silk for every hit you make on an enemy. Once you have enough, there's like a small % chance that you do a critical hit. All I could think is leaning into that somehow, right? Like if you are timing your attacks perfectly, you increase that chance to do a critical hit. So it's less of a charged attack, but the concept of having an attack that can do extra damage based on some sort of skill. I think some sort of rhythm, some sort of precision would suit it really well.
And it doesn't have that at the moment, so
No, it's nothing that I'm aware of. There's any sort of timing or rhythm in Silksong.
And you're saying that's just with the power up attack, or across the board?
Across the board.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, next time you bump into those guys down the shop, just tell them.
Yeah.
Hey,
you are in the same state.
Loved your game. I got a problem.
Could have been better. But what do you think about this? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd love that.
Like Jeffrey pointed out, these concepts that Dark Souls uses aren't new. They're well known in fighting games. So, and Dark Souls 3 really honed it in for me. And that's you can just look at the context, right? Where it's the third game or fourth game in a long running series from a very well published developer using concepts that have been around for ages versus 3 guys in Australia.
Yeah.
So it's understandable. I'd love to see, in an update or the next game they make some more depth to it, because it was a feature in Hollow Knight, like the first one, the charge attack, and it was another set that I just never used. So
interesting. It'd be interesting just to know whether that's just basically everyone feels the same way, or I mean, do you know, are there other people who sort of have the same criticism?
I mean, I've seen a lot of like Hollow Knight or Silksong stuff going around on the internet, and I've seen people talk about the charge attack build and how you can make charge attacks really good. And one of the criticisms is there's a what are they called in Silksong? Like a charm or a tool, I think they're called, that increases the power of it. I don't remember if it's the damage or like reduces the charge time. But the complaint is that you get that in Act 3, so the latter half of the game. So it's like you have charge attacks the whole time, but they're not really optimal until you get there. But that's also just like a by numbers thing. So I'm like, maybe some people just don't mind having to charge the attack.
So I'm getting to Crash Test Butters sort of saying that it's getting some reverb. Is that from us? Because I did notice last week Sam got some really strong reverb as well.
Oh.
I'm just wondering. We've changed our setup a little bit, so that might be why. Is anyone else hearing that?
No, it's coming through fine for me.
Yeah, I'm not noticing anything.
But you guys aren't listening to the stream, are you?
No, I would be speech jammed.
Yes. Yes. So I'm not sure what it is. I guess I'll get to hear it when I listen back to the recording, which I didn't make. I forgot to hit record. Goodness me.
It's not recording now.
It's a bit, yeah. Like we've got 10, 15 minutes to go.
Jeffrey said there was a moment, but it's been pretty clear so in the last 5 minutes.
Okay, I wonder whether that's something to do with the system we're using so that we can all be here together. I think it's got to be something like that. There might be some technical issues there.
Mm.
Okay. Well, if you hear more of it, just let us know sort of as soon as you can, and we'll try and sort that out.
Appreciate the call out.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us know. Cool. Anything else to say about that?
No, nothing in particular. I just appreciate getting to share my gripe with otherwise a phenomenal game. But,
that's good to know, though, because I guess if the Hollow Knight guys sort of heard that feedback and took it on board and said, you know what, yeah, let's sort of go all in on the combat and did go that. I mean, obviously there would be like the next game would be the game where they focused on the combat and it was quite a different.
Even then,
thing.
the jump in sort of skill expression and options in combat between Hollow Knight and Silksong is really huge. Like, Hornet being originally like a boss character had a lot of moves, and so they kind of had to bring those back for her game, and they managed to do that really well. Like, you can see clips on YouTube of players using every ability in her kit to full effect to no hit bosses and tear through them. And I think it always bugs me because it's like the most of the discussion I hear is what's the most damage you can do, and at the moment in Silksong that happens to be launching like 4 different attack tools with a poison equipped, and you just sort of dodge the enemy and they just burn them down. But I love seeing people using all these movement and attack abilities together, and the fact that they all flow so well together, and from an animation standpoint and combat design, they clearly have the creativity and the capacity to do it. It's just I don't know. It just must.
We say capacity, but they are a very small team. I mean, they're not. Yeah. There's only 2 or 3 of them.
I believe 3 primary, and then plenty of people chipping in and helping out. But I suppose what they lack in sort of numbers, they make up for in sort of the time they've spent, at least with Silksong, to really finesse it. So yeah. And I think they could come up with something really compelling, depending on where they go from here.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. Well, we've got a few minutes left. Normally we spend all our time just going through 2 of these things. Anything else that we want to talk about?
I don't know. I think my takeaways with this is just definitely leaning to the Dark Souls side of keeping the player agency available if you're going to do some sort of charge attack. If I think you're totally right, Fraser, in saying like if you're going to do a charge attack, let people release it when they want to release it. And it does go into the design of your game, of course, and it might not be the case, but it feels like it's the better option without any context of what the game it will be in.
Yeah, I think it helps with Dark Souls that you're rooted in place when you're charging it, whereas in Yakuza and Silksong, you have full freedom of movement, and then it's when you attack that it sort of limits you. But I love that in Dark Souls because it's, the primary parts of the combat in Dark Souls is all about positioning and understanding, ranges and hitboxes. So this idea of like you have to stand just far enough away from the enemy that they'll be in range when you're done, but not, so close that they'll attack you before you can finish and cancel it. And then understanding as well what weapon you're using and what sort of animation you get with the charge attack, like the difference between these dual axes. and their weird windmill attack versus the hammer where you do this massive leap beforehand.
Yeah.
It's I just love it. I mean, I just love Dark Souls. I think is
Yeah. No, yeah, same. I think one of my favorite weapons from Dark Souls was, I can't recall, it's been quite a few years, but it was like a black greatsword or something. But the charge attack was, oh no, it was a left trigger block and then your charge attack. You jump down and pretty much stance yourself in front, which would give you a certain amount of hyper armor, I think, and then you charge to upswing and knock people up in the air.
Yes,
and getting the timing of that was so satisfying.
Yeah, and like the way enemies, like charged heavy attacks will have such like different effects to the enemies. Most attacks will just stagger, but if it's the hammer bonk or something that's throwing the enemies up, they'll go prone for a few seconds and then they have to spend all that time getting up, and it's really rewarding. Really makes it worth pulling it off.
Yeah. So you like going into the danger knowing that there is a bit of payoff if you get it.
Yeah 100%.
I feel like I could do with some lessons from you guys, because I'm just a novice on well, I've only played Elden Ring, so yeah, I kind of missed out on all that sort of stuff. Enjoyed Elden Ring though when it wasn't rage quitting.
No, it's never too late to pick up Dark Souls 3. I think I started with that in 2015, 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Ended up going back to all the other ones because I was just sort of so impressed by it. Like, yes, I struggled through it very much so at the start, but there is a point where it starts to click.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, I guess, in Elden Ring, but I feel like there's a lot of things that I didn't completely understand at the time.
I honestly think Elden Ring kind of suffers from its open world. And the Dark Souls formula is actually better suited to a more linear, or at least sort of a branching linear map format. And I feel that a lot of people's intro to the Souls-like was Elden Ring, which is sort of this weird blend of their genre to the open world, which is really cool and impressive and striking. Like, I did love it. But I do think if I'm going to go back to play a Souls-like, I'll probably play Dark Souls 3.
I could not agree more. That's exactly how I feel.
So what is it about Dark Souls 3 that makes it better than Elden Ring?
Well, like, there is a certain amount of, me and a friend talk about this a lot, and for him, he finds that he misses out on a lot. Like, there's so many places to go in Elden Ring. He's always constantly like, oh, do I go over here? Like, oh, I shouldn't go there yet because I haven't finished this area. And he sort of gets this, this choice and selection thing where you just can't continue. Whereas, and I kind of agree with that too. Like, you kind of pick areas to go, and you might go to a wrong place to start, or somewhere where things are, you should have more of X or Y, ability or armor to do. I think an example for me is there's a whole start area on an island with a castle, which is very much intended to be a tutorial zone, which I did not know. And I skipped that whole thing. And there was a lot of the game I skipped and missed. And I think it's just that missing out, which really sort of...
In Elden Ring?
In Elden Ring, yeah, which kind of destroyed a lot of the pacing for me. Whereas in the more linear ones, you get to a hard point or like a difficulty spike, and you go, you give it a go for a little while, and you go, oh crap, I can't do this. I know there's one or two more ways I can try. And then sort of you got this sort of finishable area feeling, and it's a satisfaction of knowing you've done everything to move on, and then learning that area so much and all the enemy spawns and whatnot to sort of eventually master it, and feel really good about jumping through an area. And I think just Elden Ring kind of lacks that, I feel like I could have explained that a lot better, but that's the general consensus of how I felt.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because I really enjoy. I've never finished Elden Ring because I just get to a certain point and I just kind of rage quit. It's just like I'm like, no, this game's no good for me. It kills my blood pressure. So I tend to just leave it. And it's kind of the same place. I've played it a few times using different. Actually, the first time I played it, I thought, I'll go the wizard kind of thing, and I realized later that that's the worst worst character I could have chosen, because it's much easier to get through as a beginner, as someone with a sword or something.
Yeah.
But I get to a certain point, and yeah, it's just kind of like I feel like I've I've sort of missed certain things, like certain skills that I should know, that I've maybe managed to fudge. So the timing and the hit points, and the hitboxes and all that sort of stuff. Listening to you guys talk, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I don't really get all of that in Elden Ring. So yeah, kind of need some tutoring, I guess.
Well, the focus was just a bit more honed in on the fighting for Dark Souls.
Yeah, so maybe
It's
Dark
probably
Souls
Elden Ring,
3, if I had the time. I mean, at the
And
moment.
when you're linear like that, the Souls games are really well known for their branching paths, but they are linear levels. You can be far more precise and have a far better understanding of where the player is coming from, how they're going to approach the enemies, and what options they have. Whereas in Elden Ring, I found half the time you could just run away from an enemy if you didn't have a good approach, or there was so much space that you could just use that to sort of get around it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, in Dark Souls, it was like, no, this guy is in your way. You need to figure out how to fight him to progress.
Right. Yeah. See, that's what I'm wondering. Like, there's just not enough, forcing to work out how to actually get through an enemy. And you can go. You guys
put words to my gripes, and I think that's mainly it for me.
Yeah. So anyway, I wouldn't mind playing it again, but time is the problem. There's too many games and not enough hours in the day, unfortunately, to play, which is a killer. But I think we've sort of reached the end, or a little bit early, but we might wrap it up there, guys, unless there's anything else we want to say.
No, I think I'm just catching up on chat, and yeah, Jeffrey on the same page. With
glass cannon sword. I was just a glass. I wasn't a cannon.
Just a
glass.
Just a glass.
I was just a poor little beginner.
Another problem that I heard from a couple of people with the sorcerer classes in Elden Ring, which now I realize really blends in with that too much space aspect, is it was really easy in the end and kind of boring. If you were to stick it out, Chris, you'd probably become overpowered as a sorcerer, and you just stand back and cast spells, and you're not really doing much. And a few of my friends actually said that, and they changed classes halfway through the game because they weren't actually fighting much. They were just sort of running backwards and casting spells.
Yeah.
So the problem was when you got stuck in close combat, when you actually, and there's a couple of points there. So I guess one, when you're going through that sort of castle, and that sneaky bugger closes the door on you, and you with that sort of there's a knight in that room, and I mean, as a spellcaster, it just kill me, like really hard.
And that's where it falls flat on its face, is when you're really stuck in the small areas.
Whereas I went through as a samurai next time around, and that was just easy. It was like there was no competition. So I think there's a bit of a problem there with those different character classes, particularly the wizards, compared to anyone who's doing combat. I think that's probably one area where Elden Ring certainly falls down for me.
I would always recommend a melee character with a little bit of magic if you want.
Yeah, but you can get sword. We get weapons and things with powers and stuff. So I mean, you don't really need that much in the way of magic.
Changing gears for the last couple of minutes, just looking at this Yakuza thing. Is the city modeled just like off Japan generally, or is this Osaka that they're in?
Yeah, this is. So that's Dotonbori, I think. In the game, it's Dotonbori.
I think it's modeled really well, because my memories of Osaka are pretty fresh, and I was like, I feel like I've been exactly where he is right now.
There's a fun animation you can do if you're on top of the bridge, where you throw someone over the railing, and I saw a video on Instagram of somebody on that bridge in real life, and there's signs where it's like don't no diving, no jumping, and then it like faded
people over the
rail. Animation, and I was like,
that's so good. It's pretty spot on.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been, but I've played
Yeah.
enough Yakuza that when I see real life images, I'm like, hang on a second.
Yeah, well, this is
That's
this is
familiar.
straight up like the main bit of Osaka.
Mhm.
Just to the left, they have a giant what's it called? Don Quixote, which is like a mega
Yeah.
store that they have, and the big yellow lettering. I don't
Mhm.
think it says Don Quixote in this because they'd have to pay them.
I think it might.
That shot right there. Wait, you're about to run past it.
I don't go in. I don't think.
No, you don't go in. But those stairs are so familiar. I sat on those stairs.
Damn.
I should have taken a photo.
I should have run through in the footage because yeah, it's. I'm pretty sure it's in there.
No, which Yakuza is this? Is this?
This is Kiwami 2.
Kiwami 2.
So Yakuza 2, the remake. I'm waiting for Kiwami 3 to come out in February because I own 3 remastered. But I was talking to Zebedee who said I should play Kiwami 3 and then go to 4 remastered.
Right.
And I took their advice.
Yeah, I've been meaning to pick up the series for a while now, but just haven't got an entry point. Oh,
Yeah.
RP Jeffrey says Don Quixote is in Yakuza, so maybe it does say the name there, which is the store I was talking about.
Yeah.
Alrighty, cool. Well, that's kind of it, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Thanks everyone for watching and chatting and commenting.
Thanks for
Thanks
letting me
for having us. Thanks for engaging.
Yeah, and we'll be back. Should be same time next week. So 3:30 on a Thursday, same time, same place. We'll see you guys all then.
Awesome.
Alrighty, catch you guys.
All right. See ya.
See you next week.